to the Dreadlocks question and answer video where you leave me questions and I try my best to answer them. My first question this week is from Kyle Inez. Kyle asks, is there anything you can do about large spaces between dreads? Spaces between dreadlocks. So whether you section the hair yourself into neat little squares, or you grab lumps, or you let it form as it wants, there are still going to be sections where the root takes up below the dreadlock. These sections are going to generally be right next door to other sections, so you'll have one square next to another square, or one lump next to another lump if it's formed naturally. They're going to be right next to each other either way. The spaces that you then actually get between individual dreadlocks is dependent on how thick your hair is. So if you have thick hair, the dreadlocks that grow out of the sections are going to be thick. They're going to fill out that section nicely. If you have thin hair, the dreadlocks are going to be thinner and not fill out the section quite as well. So if you have thick hair, you're going to have smaller gaps between dreads. If you have thin hair, there are going to be larger gaps just because there isn't as much dreadlock for the space. Unfortunately, there is not a whole lot you can do about it because you can't make your hair thicker than it already is. Even if you make the dreadlocks themselves thicker by doubling them up, making congos, joining them together, you're still going to have the gap either side because you just don't have the volume of hair within the section to nicely fill out the spaces. And I will quickly mention that young dreads will be kind of scalpy and have gaps between them, and that's not a fault of your hair thickness or the dreadlocks or the starting or anything like that. It's just that young dreadlocks will be generally made pretty tight to the root so that the hairs will be pulled either side, and that will result in little part lines between the dreads. So if you're having little scalpy spots between brand new dreads, those will dissipate once you start washing them and it all starts to sort of loosen up and relax up here. Next question from Elegntt. Question: I have short hair, probably about 2 inches, and really want to grow dreads. I know I need to get it to about 6 inches to start. So my question is there any way to make my hair grow faster, and how long do you think it may take? I realize it may take a while, so I heard horse shampoo may help speed up the process. Waiting for hair to grow is about as fun as waiting for hair to grow. So as fun as waiting for paint to dry. I have heard of people using horse shampoo to speed up the hair growth. I personally myself have no experience with it, so I'm not going to say either way whether it works or not, because I don't want anyone to say, it works, I've done it, or it doesn't work, I've done it. Feel free to try it out and let me know. You can increase your rate of hair growth by having a nice healthy diet. And there are also certain health supplements that you can take that are specifically designed to target healthy hair growth, and also like healthy nails and nail growth and stuff like that. You may want to look into those. I have been told that hair grows roughly around 6 inches per year. I can't citate that as a reference, I've just been told. I haven't measured it myself. But from that you can tell that if it takes around a year to grow 6 inches, then it's not going to take you quite a year to get from 2 inches to a dreadable length. But my best advice would be to not worry about it. Don't sit there with the ruler waiting for it to get long enough. It'll grow when it grows. Next question from dreadsfodays. Question: I play basketball and I was thinking about getting dreads, but I know I will sweat a lot and have to wash my hair a good bit. In washing my hair a lot with baby dreads, I know isn't good for them, and I was also thinking about extending them with synthetic hair so I could tie them back. But how will that affect me playing basketball? Like, will they fall out? There's no punctuation, I don't know where to stop and start with the sentences. Okay, Dreadsfodays wants to know about washing young dreadlocks very frequently and whether putting extensions on them would be a good idea. Washing young dreadlocks really frequently is not really the best idea, not the best thing you can do, because it's quite rough on them. Once the dreadlocks are started, so once they're like around a month old, once they've got to a month old, they're generally not going to wash out after that. But if you're really rough and heavy-handed with the washing in the first month, they can wash out and then you're left with nothing, you have to start over again. Provided that you're gentle with them and just take your time and appreciate that they're not as strong as mature dreadlocks, you will be able to wash them as frequently as required, but just remember that it is pretty rough on them. With regards to putting extensions on young dreads, I generally don't recommend it. While plenty of people do put extensions on dreads and plenty of people do put them on young dreads, I do not consider the situation ideal because young dreadlocks are soft and you have to be pretty heavy-handed with attaching them and keeping them secure so they won't fall out. And then there's also quite a big jump between going from like normal short hair to long dreadlocked hair. It's like a big jump in weight and the amount of work you need to do to wash and dry them. I personally recommend waiting till the dreadlocks are a few months old, and so they're stronger, you know what you're doing more with your hair, and you can decide whether you really want to add lots of extra work and weight to them at that point. Because adding extensions is really, it's only an aesthetic benefit. It doesn't really help the maturation of the dreadlocks at all, and it can slow down the maturation of the dreadlock that's on the bit that's attached. With regards to your question specifically, whether it would help you being able to tie up the dreadlocks, because yes, if you have short dreadlocks that are new, you're not going to be able to tie them up, so they're kind of annoying in your face. Adding extensions would allow you to be able to tie them back, but since you've also mentioned that you want to wash your dreadlocks rather frequently, I would not recommend it. Adding extensions is going to significantly increase the amount of time it takes to wash, rinse, and especially dry them, and also result in increased weight. And they're going to keep your head super warm while you're playing basketball, so if you're going to be playing basketball, I probably would not jump to quickly get long dreadlocks. It's probably not what you need. Simone H asks, have you ever thought about dreading your beard? This question has joined my frequently asked questions because the amount of people that have asked whether I would dreadlock my beard. First off, I'll get it out there, I don't really want to dreadlock my beard. I think I have enough hair going on, and the thought of having to have more things to look after here, and like getting food in them, not that I like cake my face in food, but then be on my face and not all that nice, and be heavy and pulling. I did a beard pros and cons where I'm like getting toothpaste everywhere and all in my dreadlocks on my beard, and I don't really want to dreadlock my beard. I actually trimmed my beard very recently, so it's not even possible at the moment, but my beard does not grow very fast. Some people's beards grow fast enough to lock, mine gets to a length and doesn't really do much else. Facebook question this week from Gabrielle Watts. What should you do about loose roots that won't lock up? Loose roots, loose roots. Generally when people say they have loose roots that won't lock up, it means that their dreadlocks are not really all that old yet. Roots can take a long while to lock up, so you start the dreadlock and then you start washing it and it comes loose, and then it's going to come loose at the roots, it's going to come loose at the tips, and it takes months and months before everything tightens up properly. A lot of people then quickly jump to like, oh, there should be some maintenance I should be doing on my roots, and I really don't recommend maintaining the roots at all. I know that I kind of could have a card that I could hold up saying do nothing, but really with roots you don't want to do anything, because you can maintain the roots really tight and then for a few days you'll have dreadlocks that are super tight and might even stand up on end, which is another problem, and some people ask why my dreadlocks standing up on end. But if you do make the roots really tight, the roots can't move about, and then they're going to grow out and then not lock up, and they won't start locking up by themselves until they've grown out, because they need to be loose, they need to have a little bit of space to move, and once you've given them that little bit of space to move and the time it takes, they will start to lock up by themselves. So either you can go from day one and leave them alone and those roots will lock up in their own time, and then once they've locked up, seriously, once they've locked up, that's it. Forever. They're good. They will continue to lock up as the hair grows for the rest of time. Whereas if you're tweaking them and trying to do things to them, you can end up messing up their locking up. And especially if you do it really tight and make it super tight so the roots can't do anything of their own, then you'll have to wait for it to grow all the way out and loosen up before it can move around and do its own thing again. By which point you'll have probably been like, it's grown out and my roots don't lock. But really you just haven't spent the time to wait, and then you'll maintain them back again and then cycle and cycle and cycle. Don't worry about the roots. On the opposite end of the scale, if you did have super tight roots, they'd be kind of painful and pointy and you'd have scalpy spots. So it's better to have loose roots. You'll be able to move the dreads wherever you want, and then once they're locked up, they're good forever. Those are my questions for this week. If you have a question that you would like to ask me for my Q&A videos, you can either leave it in the comment section to my latest Q&A video and write the word question at the start of your comment and join the queue, or on the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/lazydreads. Each Tuesday I post a status that looks as something like, hello, I'm looking for Q&A questions, would you like to post your Q&A questions? And then whichever question is a reply to that status gets the most likes before the time that I next film gets answered. So it's like super quick, and then you can get your question answered straight away if you have enough likes. It's a popularity contest. If you like this video, click the thumbs up and then I will know that you liked it, and I will see the thumbs up and be like, people like this one, hooray! As always, all my stuff can be found on lazydreads.com. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Farewell!